John, appreciate your time today. I know we've been working together a little while, but just for everybody listening, can you give yourself an introduction, please, and what you've done in this market?
Yeah, so my name is John Westhead. I am currently the Managing Director of Growth and Potential Limited, so working for myself, self-employed business consultant, helping businesses grow, develop, change, offering training, education options for companies of various different scale and shape. Prior to working for myself, I've been in education and training for around about 15, 16 years, working for various different large companies, some small companies, and varying different sizes of budgets around apprenticeships, adult education, study program, traineeships. So I've been in the training and assessor and education world for a long time. I've actually bumped into people that I started off on apprenticeships that are now senior managers and have got companies of their own down the line. So I think I've done full circle by this time.
Good stuff. I know we're going to be spending most of this time talking around, hiring for the training and delivery teams, whether it's training experience or occupational competency. But you've done a pretty crazy thing and started your own business in the heat of the pandemic. How have you found that start of that journey?
Yeah, it was a crazy decision. It's been good. It's something I've had a desire to do for a long time, to be fair, is to start off on my own. I've always kind of found myself parachuting into companies that needed help and support to be able to grow and to be able to maybe address some significant challenges that they've got or that were struggling, that needed to turn things around a bit. So I've sort of fallen into firefighting roles quite often, but it's given me a good grounding to go and help other businesses. And it's been nice recently because I'm helping businesses grow again. When I started off, I was more helping businesses shrink. Obviously reacting to the global pandemic, having to shrink workforces, be more efficient, be more lean in what we do, get people spread quite thinly across different parts of their operation, look at training where they could identify gaps. I was delivering change management courses to get people used to having to change their job roles. That was quite a common occurrence for a while. Looking at COVID training, looking at training companies in that type of thing. So it was a massive, crazy leap of faith into the unknown, but it's actually paid off. And I actually really enjoyed myself over the last 12 months because I've kept busy. I've been involved, I've been working, it's been mentally stimulating because I've been having to do things I've not had to do for a long time, create my own training material, come up with stuff off the cuff, fire various difficult questions that have been fired at me that I've had to think on my feet for. A lot of it obviously over Teams. The bit I do miss is that face-to-face interaction. I'd much rather be in a room talking to lots of people, delivering stuff. But I think that's been a learning curve for me. I've adapted myself, I think, very well over the sort of Teams and Zoom and various other platforms.
Let's get on to what we want to be talking about. So, I'm sure we've spoken in the past around it. You've seen some of the stuff that I put out on LinkedIn. When you're hiring for your training team, I know it's a bit of a controversial topic. Do you hire somebody who's got that training experience, but maybe lacks the occupational competency or recent occupational competency, or do you hire, that occupation and train up? When did you first start hiring outside of the sort of the training market and start, hiring people into a training role, and in what sort of capacity?
So the first one I ever did was probably about 6-7 years ago, and it was I remember it was a particular role around administration that for some real random reason we struggled to recruit to. Normally with admin, with trainers, assessors, we were inundated, but for some reason this particular role, it just didn't stick. It just wasn't being recruited to. So I sat down and we spoke to the management team at the time. And I said, what would be the harm in taking somebody who's working in industry and giving them a go? I said, we've got enough experience in the organisation. We offered the training for the assessor's qualification at the organisation I was working for at the time. So we could train the people in the assessor's qualifications. We could give them that side. And I said, it might actually benefit the learners to speak to somebody who's an experienced administrator. I said, because that's the careers they're going to go into. I said, so I think there's more positives than negatives to this. It was an extremely difficult sell to the senior team. They weren't up for it at all. They didn't want to get involved in anything to do with that. They were saying, no, we've got to have experienced people, we've got to do this, we've got to do that. We want assessors, we want D32 and whatever other qualifications that they've got and all of that. We've got to have this clear pathway. And I get where they were coming from because we were on frameworks back then. The qualifications were very linear, it was very sort of structured, it was tick this box, move on to the next section. So that assessment mentality did lend itself better to the role. But I was looking at the quality of education that the learners were going to get more than ticking the box and going through the qualifications. So eventually they gave me the opportunity to do it. It went disastrously wrong.